What's going on, y'all? It's J Smo Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Bringing you guys today really to talk about one matchup. We're going to talk about a little bit about some conversation we've heard throughout the week, but this video here is about New Jersey Twork versus Av, which is all I've pretty much seen on the timeline today with those two going back and forth. And this battle has what I call a cursed history. It's like there's a hex on it. This would be like the 6th or 7th time, at least, publicly, that this battle looks like it could be about to be set up. Obviously, there's two flyers of it that go back to around 2019. We did not get to see the battle play out on those cards, and we wouldn't be talking about it now. But somehow, even after the history, which we'll talk about in a minute, how many times this battle has almost went down, hasn't went down, right now, as we speak, might actually be the best timing for it ever to go down, especially following power moves, where these two were just performance of the night and then co-performance of the night. In my opinion, Twork being the performer of the night, but Av not being too far behind him. On top of that, the type of year that Av is having, and the year that Twork had just last year, 2023, runner-up for champion of the year, in some people's opinions, should have won it. Turns around, look what he did to the person that won it over him in Big K, and then it's an award and kind of like a quality of year more than anything, because talking about COTY is good, but it just highlights how good of a year a battler is having, and we know what Av is doing right now in 2024. So even after all this time, the punch fest it could have been on volume 5, we're talking right now that if there's a possibility for this to go down in December, it's more of a need than it really is a want, and there's just too many reasons why it makes sense. And like I said, there's a long history behind the battle, right? So first of all, it's booked on Volume 5. Didn't end up happening, and if it did, I think the Volume 5 arguably would have been the best volume card URL ever threw. That was Verb DNA, Susurf versus Reed, Rum Nitty versus Chilla, Geechee versus O-Reds. There's a lot happening there. It was, though, shortly rebooked again to go down on an event called Royalty, which was kind of mostly an intergender event. There was a mix of a Nitty versus Official. What was it? Was it 40 Bars versus Hustle, I believe, was on that card as well. Chess versus Tory Doe was supposed to have Twork and Av. And I don't remember the exact reasoning. I believe around the time, maybe Volume 5 is when Twork had the car crash, and then that's why he had to cancel on that battle. But I remember there obviously being reasonings, because the battle didn't go down either time. We wouldn't be talking about it right now. And since the years, I remember even for Summer Madness, before Rock and Av got locked in, I believe that's SM13. So there's 2 Summer Madnesses ago, technically, because Kings versus Queens was a Summer Madness. But I remember Twork going on Twitter and calling out Av for around then, and people really wanted it. And then it turned out to end up being obviously Av and Rock battled, and then it was Hollow and Twork that locked in. So it's been a battle that has been brought up numerous times throughout history, right? And I remember they even had a conversation in the Spaces not that long ago where Twork had just said he viewed Av as a high-risk, low-reward battle. So for really a long time, and especially after a battle fails that many times, that's kind of the word that you're getting from one of the battlers that would have to be involved for it to happen. And with Twork battling all these legends over the last year or two, I just didn't think that we'd see it. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those that you'll hear Av talk down in the matchup, and it's because of this history of cancellations, and it's not going down. And now you got Twork saying he's high risk, low reward. That could be frustrating as a battler. But as I spoke on power moves, these two both end up on the card. The battle was discussed for power moves, which Av talked about very publicly, did interviews about it, saying that that was something that was on the table, doesn't end up happening. There's other offers offered to everyone across the board. Ends up obviously doing the A-Ward battle, and what do you know? These two that they try to book against each other to begin with end up having the most dominant and effective, impactful performances of the night on power moves. So with that, there's still the punchers that they've always been. This was always going to be a haymaker-based bar fest. But since then, they've both gotten better at so much since this was first originally booked in around 2019. I think as a performer, obviously, we know what Twork has always been, but how sharp he particularly is with it now. And I think Av is also someone that I will always bring this up, has mastered the big stage more than people give him credit for. Sometimes it's just better up there. What did I say all this time? I've been saying he's been better on the big stage than the small room. Finally gets on the big stage again for the first time since Danny Myers, and his performance for his award is probably his best performance this year. So there's also this element of electricity. It just can go down in any room though. In small rooms, these guys are gonna have a bar fest. Big stage, it's gonna be a bar fest, but with it kind of explosiveness to it. And plus, I think Av's become a much better angler than people's giving him credit for. Because if this was just based on the bars itself, Hell, I might still end up taking New Jersey Twork, hypothetically either way, but that kind of angling ability where I feel like Av is having thirds where he's talking really directly to his opponent. I mean, it's more than just people say punch bot, things of that nature. You got to listen to the content. There's a variety of attacks in here. So would love to see that matchup nowadays, and I think that gives Av a better fighting chance than ever, makes it the most explosive, and it's something that's organic, right? You want to see the best versus the best. If these guys are proving to be the best, some are saying, after what Twork did to K at 100%, he's the best battle rapper in the world. He belongs to be in that convo when he is on 100%, which for most of his matchups of value, he has been for this year. And then for Av, you have someone that hasn't always been thrown in that conversation, but just off the ability, even though sometimes I don't like the way that he approaches things, which we'll get to in a minute, especially kind of branding-wise, what he puts out there. Just pound for pound, people are putting him in that convo for COTY because he's just been that good. He has not taken a clear L since B-Dot, which he will still swear that he didn't take a clear L in that battle. But either way, this is years ago. You know what I'm saying? This battle. We're talking like almost 3 years ago now. That's the type of streak he's going on. And if these guys are down to battle each other, which it appears, Twork saying he wants Av saying he respects him and that he was like, he was nervous after seeing what Twork did to K, but that made him want the matchup even more. That's the competitive spirit that makes battle rap battle rap. And if both of these guys want to lock in, for all these reasons, could it not be easier for this to be the match to happen? And then that brings me to my last point here into this, which also goes more into the conversations back and forth Av had earlier this week with Twork, starting from a tweet where he basically just flatly kind of asked his audience, battle rap crowd as a whole, hey, what would you guys feel like if me and Bad News were to match up on URL's potential December card, which there's already been enough mention around it. It looks like URL will have one more card before things are out this year. And there was just different replies. I had my own reply as well, saying I'd prefer Vixen the Assassin over News. I know that her and Avid went back and forth recently about possibly battling. Both power punchers, both having great 2024s. And I think would be a more competitive matchup than News. I don't see any really era where a version of Bad News is going to beat a version of Av. Would have been good, though. I mean, this is even a better year for News, but still, I think most people would have Av very clearly winning that matchup. And then from there, somebody, home team, shout out Let's Talk Battle Rap, had mentioned, what about Av versus Twork, which we've talked about all the reasons why that makes sense already, but he had said URL wouldn't do that. Because of how cool they are with Rock and with both of us being heavy in the COTY race. Why would they big up my race when they have a closer relationship with him is how it was painted. I believe that's about what was said. And Rock, of course, ends up responding to it, kind of referring, hey, it's jealousy. Don't use me to create your narratives. You know what I'm saying? My year's got nothing to do with yours. Av, I'm standing on it. Rock, what do you say? You eat peanut butter and jealous sandwiches. So a bunch of back and forth, basically saying that he's jealous. Why would you even bring my name up? Now, I'm going to have to agree a little bit with Rock there. I do think it was unnecessary to bring his name up and kind of paint it like, if you want to call out Twork, just call out Twork. Now, we discussed why Av might be tired. So at some point, it's battle rap. But at the end of the day, these men are going to talk their shit. So it's not about policing it. I don't think it was necessary to kind of drag other people to it if you just want to battle Twork. But that might genuinely be how he feels, right? However, obviously, URL has capitalized on COTY hype before with 2018, Geechee versus K-Shine, which was obviously based off COTY, with B-Dot versus Chilla Jones, and then eventually Chilla versus K-Shine, which kind of happened after the end of the calendar year, but both of those matchups end up making noise because those three were all like in a three-way kind of race for the potential champion of the year in 2020. So people have been booked, even the one-rounder kind of fest that got booked. It was the first outside card with Suge versus Danger Zone, Swamp versus Saga, and Rock versus Snake Eyes when their names were kind of up and hyped up in 2022. So they've kind of booked around it before, and I do think there is a piece to this where people are waiting to see the next part of Av's run. There is so much hype behind him, like we said, and while I wouldn't say, Twork is in the race by any means this year, it's a super match that kind of puts, it's just an extra layer of pressure, an extra layer of people wanting to watch, because now they're watching it because it's a mega match. You got your bar for bar guys that just like bars watching it. You got your hyped up, these guys can be performance heavy. There's kind of juggernauts. There's some impact to it, to the general audience, plus you add the Champion of the Year race, so it's like there's added pressure of potentially winning here. So that's another reason where it turned into arguments back and forth, and in a sense it almost leans into drama, but it's all based around a matchup, so I have no problem with it. I think it's positive noise, and it just shows how much hype is up there and how every time this matchup gets mentioned, there's energy around it. So that was my last point there, and I might even just title this video, you know, the reasons this battle should be booked, or why this is, because like I said, this one isn't really much of a want here. This one is a need. I feel like it was 5 or 6 years ago. This is how battles used to book themselves, and we got organic hype. So really all that's left is asking you guys, you know, how do you feel about Av versus Twork? You know, it's went through many phases with this matchup, but do you want it right now? Who would you have winning? Which is a crazy question in itself. I couldn't imagine what the predictions would be going into that. You know, I know they're not the biggest promo guys, but if there is going to be any promo, what that would look like. But want to know you guys as winners. Where would you like it? Would you like a bigger room, smaller room? Just any opinions on the battle or potential of it, let me know in the comment section down below, man. But it's been J Smo Reviews again here, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna catch y'all the next one, man. Peace.